You're listening to the Scarf Bagara War, part of the Talksport Fan Network, and charity partners with Mentel, for county fans, by county fans.
I prefer
Love
the
that.
Bolton one.
Absolutely. Oh, you prefer the Bolton one, do you?
I think the Bolton one has a little bit more sort of significance to it. But it was just, like I say, a different type of battering. Like you say, it's the most sort of 1-0 battering of a team I think we'll ever sort of see without, with Bolton, we battered them 5-0, but that was a 1-0 battering if there could ever be a 1-0 battering.
Indeed. Anyway, welcome everybody. So we're filming this or recording this on Sunday evening, 7 o'clock, obviously following the 1-0 battering of Wrexham. This is episode 21 of the Courtyard Club Call for this season, so we are absolutely motoring through it. I'm Jimmy Harmer, and I'm joined by my wingman, Dan Culverwell, as always. And today we have a fan guest who has been on the Wednesday show, a fan guest who's been on our Courtyard Club Call as well. We love him to bits. Who is it, Dan?
It's Steve
Bardsley.
Gleeson! It's a cracker! Stephen Gleeson! What a beauty!
Steve, thank you for coming on again. Always good to talk county with you, mate.
Yeah. Thank you for having me again. Good evening. And I'm just pleased to be on after win. My last two appearances have been after defeats, and I'm a bit of a superstitious kind of guy. I was getting a little bit panicky. So today's a good day.
It is. So we'll be talking about the 1-0 victory over Wrexham today and everything that was sort of behind that. So Dan, have you got the FOTMob stuff up? So if you can grab the lineup, that would be amazing. We can just sort of go through that to begin with.
Put the lineup on the screen as well. So
Super.
I think most people would have got 11 out of 11 this week from the game against Bolton. We'll forget about the midweek Tranmere game, as we didn't win and we didn't really bother about it. So starting, obviously Ben kept his position in goal. It was a back three. Obviously Ethan Pye coming back in for Toure, who's out on international duty. Fraser Horsfall and an excellent Callum Connolly. Then you had a midfield four of Rydell, Louie Barry, Ollie Norwood, and Macca, Southam Hales out on the right-hand side. And then a front three again, really, of Wharton as your centre pivot man, target man, with Barry on one side and Collar on the other. For me, I got 11 out of 11 out of FanHub, and that's probably the first time I've got 11 out of 11 for a long time on FanHub.
Steve, did you predict that team?
Yeah. It was pretty much a given. I think Charlie's interview on the Friday basically said there's one place up for grabs. And my only concern was I went on Tuesday to the Bristol Street Motors game and watched Ethan Pye limp off in the last minute of the game. And it kind of, I didn't hear anything in the reports about it. I didn't hear Charlie mention it. And I thought, I just hope he's fit. I think if he hadn't played, then it probably would have been Hughes maybe as playing that left-sided defender. But 11 out of 11. I think it was pretty easy this week.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, you touched on the Bristol Street Motors game on Tuesday. I mean, we didn't discuss it on the Courtyard Club Call, but the guys discussed it on Wednesday, and it was disappointing for Charlie, wasn't it? Because nobody stuck their hand up saying pick me sort of thing. So it was very easy, wasn't it, for Dave? I think to pick that 11.
Yeah, I think the only guy that really kind of came out with a bit of credit was Odin Bailey. To be honest, I thought he really tried. He did his best, but that his position wasn't the one going spare, was it? So there's nothing he could have done really.
No, that's a good point. So Dan, you said the excellent Callum Connolly when you read the team out. What did he do that was so good?
I just thought he was very, very tidy with the ball. Just kept the ball moving, nice touches, didn't look flustered. We know he hasn't got the pace. And he's been played in positions at times where, the opposition have mainly to sort of like highlight his weaknesses and make him look a little bit vulnerable. I just thought he was, he looked like a player that played at championship level on Saturday. He just didn't look flustered. He controlled the ball nice and neat, little touches, playing it round the corner. And he just kept things going, kept the tempo up and, everything that we want to see, really. So, yeah, I know that obviously there's been some appreciation posts out from the club about him, and obviously he did the post-match interview as well. But like I say, I was sat there and he was one of the players. I think Bate was always going to get the man of the match, but he was one of them players that for me really sort of shone out a lot.
I thought he did really well against Parma as well, because there were times, certainly remembering the first half when Wrexham was shooting towards the Shield end, he was sort of trying to get away from Horsfall, wasn't he? And occupying that sort of slightly wider position to knock the balls on. And Connolly was like, yeah, that's fine, mate. I'll just keep on beating you in the air, which was impressive, to be fair.
He was my man of the match. That's who I would have picked. So, I mean, Bate was great, but I thought Connolly was just excellent.
Yeah. Okay, so if we go through that team then, so obviously Wootton up front, Barry off him, and Will Collar next to him. I think we can all agree, can't we, that front three, especially seeing what lined up against Tranmere and how ineffective they were. That front three is definitely Dave's front three, and I am very pleased with that, especially the work rate that Wootton and Collar put in. Barry's getting there. I mean, Dave has said that he is working on that side of his game. But those two, Collar and Wootton, and shout out to the guy behind me in my season ticket. He came to me at the end of the game, gave me a hug. Don't know the guy at all. Don't know your name, sorry, mate. But he gave me a hug and said, Jimmy, make sure you mention Will Collar because he had a cracking game. So if you're listening, mate, come and say hello to me. Tell me what your name is next time. But I agree with you.
Yeah. They did. I mean, we'll get into that. Obviously, the worrying at the moment is the amount of effort they put in, because they seem to, after 80 minutes, burn themselves out. And we seem to, when we hit the brick wall, we hit the brick wall as a team, and that energy level just disappears. And I think this is the challenge now, and Challenger's mentioned it. That bench, he's got to. The hard part, I think, the starting 11 makes itself at the moment. It's very easy to pick. The hard part is picking that bench and picking the right players on that bench that are going to come on and influence the game and put that energy back into the game. And that, I think, that is the week-to-week challenge at the moment. While this 11 of players, obviously Toure, you could argue, he's lost his spot at the moment. But apart from that, there's not going to be much changes between now and Burton, I reckon.
Have we got any thoughts, Steve, on the bench? Obviously, Charlie said after the game on Tuesday that some people are going to miss out on the match day squad, and it turned out it was Mingy, Diamond. They were the two main, like the big names, weren't they? What do you think about
that? I kind of would like to see Diamond because I really do rate him, but then I kind of wasn't surprised to see him miss out either, because I think what's going on at the moment is we're bringing Southam Hales and Rydell back into the team, and it's clear they can't last a full 90 minutes. So you can see what he did yesterday. He went with Teo and Fevrier to come on and have that pace for the last 10. Well, there was only 10 minutes in the end, wasn't it? I think he probably would have liked to brought him off a bit earlier. And it kind of worked. You've got that outlet of Teo on the left-hand side, and he was bombing down the line. Jory's still out for me on Teo, whether he's the right player, but he did a job yesterday, and Fevrier provides that threat as well. I think the big thing for me on the bench going for next week is Camps is going to be back, and he'll give us what you're talking about there, Dan. He's the guy who's going to come on. He'll give that energy, and I think that's going to really strengthen the team. So you're going to have Torre back from international duty. You're going to have Camps back, and for me, those two need to be on the bench straight away. It's making it difficult for the other guys because you've got like you say, you've got Fevre, you've got Teo, you've got Mingy, Fiorini, Diamond, all these players all trying to get in the team, and it's going to be a real challenge. But team's playing well. That's two big wins on the trot, 2 clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, you said about Camps, but Bayton Norwood, another very, very good game from them to back up the Bolton game. So that's 2 games on the trot now where they have absolutely bossed the midfield between them, which is a real positive because I wasn't convinced the two could play with each other earlier in the season.
Me too. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but I thought, when I talked about playing the match earlier, for me, it was Connolly closely followed by Norwood. I thought Norwood was excellent, and he's been excellent both games now. And like you say, they're forming that partnership now, so there's something gelling there. And Norwood's beginning to look like the player we kind of thought we were getting, and we didn't really see in the first, the cameos that he made when he did play. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of Norwood and Bate, definitely.
Yeah, Saturday can't come quick enough for me.
Yeah, I can't wait.
It's a shame that we're not playing Tuesday now, isn't it? It feels like we're building some momentum now. It feels like the team is settled. It's well balanced with Rydell and Maka. Obviously, with them coming back from injury, it's probably good that we have got this week break. Dan, what did you think of Southern Hale's performance? Was it a little bit light?
I was frustrated with him a little bit because I thought the first 7 minutes we were ragged. We were playing to Wrexham's style and what they wanted to do. They wanted the individual battles. They wanted the hustle and bustle. We lost control a little bit. And obviously Maka picked up that yellow card, which I don't think it was a yellow card at all. And I'm glad how the referee gave it because he weren't even looking at it. I think it was just that both players ran into each other off the ball. And like you say, but since he got that yellow card, I just felt that Maka sort of stood off a little bit. There was plenty of times where I think I wanted him to go past McLean and go, give him them legs a good run, and he didn't sort of do it at times. I don't know if that was because of the yellow card and just worried, or didn't want to get drawn into a physical battle with McLean because that's what he wants.
McLean is full of shithousery, isn't he? Let's face it. So it was probably clever of Maka just to show him a little bit more, not necessarily respect, but knowing that if he did something, McLean would definitely make the most of it. And if you are on a booking after 2-3 minutes, it's probably sensible to do that.
Yeah, I think it just felt that we got 70% Maka, not 80, 90, 100% Maka after that yellow card. And like you say, don't blame him because he knows that, like you say, sending off would sort of tip the scales dramatically towards them. But same again, taking into note, it's he's not played football for a long, long time. He's been chucked right in the deep end as such. Normally, Dave would give him 20 minutes here and 30 minutes there and build them up, but he's been chucked in at 60 minutes, and I think was it nearly 70 minutes he came, stayed on for on Saturday. So yeah, like I say, we know there's more to come. There was glimpses of the old Maka again. He nearly scored a goal, which would have been, do you know what I mean? If that shot that he had, managed to find the back of the net in the second half, then that would be. I was there the day that Maka scored a goal job because watching Southam Hale score a goal is rare as anything. I think you got more chance of seeing Ben Hinchliffe score a goal than Maka at times, and that's no disrespect to Maka, but he just doesn't score goals.
Mm-hmm.
He did score a great one on the TV a few years ago, didn't he? Do you remember that?
I think, he does, and when he does score, they are wonder goals as well. Yeah. But I think it's probably 2 or 3 years. Since he's last scored a goal.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's quickly run through through the game stats. I won't bother splitting it into first and second half. So, 54% possession to us, 46 to them. We had 1.69 XG to their 0.86. 19 shots. So I'm pretty sure we had something similar against Bolton. 7 on target. Yeah, I think it was around 20. They had 9 shots, just 1 on target. So again, same with Bolton. Ben had absolutely naff all to do. I think it was one very routine save that he made. They did have a couple of chances, if I remember, an Elliot Lee header that he should have done better with, but he's only about 5'2", so he probably couldn't really reach it that well. But yeah, apart from that, there weren't many other chances. They had 2 big chances. We had 4. Good one for me was 375 passes. Accurate passes, which is, I think we had, over 500 passes in the game, which definitely showed, I thought. We only committed 6 fouls, but got like 1 million bookings. Obviously, the first 3 bookings that we got were for the first 3 fouls that our players did in the whole game. In fact, at half time, we'd only done 3 fouls according to FOTMob, and we had 3 bookings. It was just bonkers, wasn't it, what the referee was doing to us? So they are the main stats. Do you think, Steve, they are a fair reflection? What I've just been running through there of the game. Yeah, should we have scored more?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the stats, I think that's a fair reflection. I don't know what the first half stats were, but I remember looking at them at one point and we were 73% possession against 27% in the first half. And that was clear. I thought we were moving the ball around really quickly. We were playing triangles all over the place. They just could not keep up with us, and it was really we were penned in their half, which was excellent. We didn't get many clean cut chances at goal, did we? But we did have a lot of shots. I think we should have scored. Probably should have scored a couple more, but I think that would have been a decent reflection on the way we were playing. But I can't remember many clear cut chances. I remember was it Will Collar get through and he should have laid it off to Wharton, maybe. I can't remember.
It was Barry in the end.
Was it Barry? Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we just run through, or why don't we just play the Louie Barry goal first, okay? And then we can talk about all the other chances. So let's just drink this up, everybody. Here we go.
Big defensive block. They're calling for handball against Dobson, not given. Oh, what a finish! And Stockport take the lead. And no guesses who it is. 11 for the League One season. Louie Barry. Remember that name.
So I just want to say, Louie Barry, remember that name. Can you remember where that was from? The commentator made that exact same statement against another player in the Premier League. 16. Wayne Rooney, yeah. Wayne Rooney, remember the name?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, it's when he scored. Was it for Everton against Arsenal? I think from a very similar position on the pitch. To be fair, sort of that slightly to one side. What a goal! I mean, he has got absolute magic in his toes, hasn't he? He didn't even look up. If you look at that video again, he gets the ball. His head is down, turns away from the defender, takes a touch, and then smacks it without even looking up. He just knew where the goal was. Stunning.
Yeah. Same again. Normally, some of his previous goals in that position, he's took the extra touch and come across the 18-yard box into the centre of the goal. I think what he's done, because he's took his shot early, he's caught everybody a little bit off guard. He's obviously, like you say, one touch to get it away from him and spin the defender. Next touch, he's wrapping his foot round it and it's leaving his boot towards the goal. And I think that just taking that chance early sort of caught him a little bit off the guard. And in all fairness, I don't even think if the goalkeeper managed to set himself properly, he's not saving it.
No, not at all. And this is the guy, not even looked at the Wrexham player ratings, but he must have been man of the match for them because he pulled off some top saves. Like you were saying, Steve, we did actually have quite a few chances, I think. So Collar smacked it at him in the first half, was it? We had a horsefall chance in the first half. Again, that after he made a save from a header, maybe Ethan Pye header or something. I can't remember what it was now. What else did he do? He saved from Wootton when Wootton was through. He was put through by Barry, and he tried to dink it over the keeper, and the keeper just put an arm out and just sort of pushed it around the post. He made a very easy save against Tanto when Tanto was 1-on-1. And maybe we'll have a quick chat about him sort of later on as we get through towards the end of the game, because he's not looking right. I don't think there's something not quite right with the way he's moving, and I don't know. But yeah, we'll talk about that later maybe. So let's just have a quick chat, I think, about Norwood's set pieces, because you said, Steve, that he could quite rightly have been potentially one of the man of the match as well with him and Bate. How much of a difference, Steve, is it having him in the side when it comes to those sort of free kicks and corners?
I think it's huge for corners alone. I'm yet to really. Some of the free kicks are okay, but the corners. If you look at, I don't know how many goals were scored where Fraser's kind of been at the back post and he's headed it back. It's nearly every single time it's from a Norwood delivery. And I was sat with my mate on Saturday watching the game, and I just said, I'd love to see the stats on how many times Norwood picks a player out from a corner. It's incredible. He's just superb. He really is. And when you see corners, normally it's like the ball goes in and you think, you hope Stockport player can get to the ball or whatever. But every time it's pinpoint. His delivery is superb. So I'm very impressed with him. Very, very impressed. I can see what all the Sheffield United fans are talking about now.
Yeah, definitely. I think the last sort of few games we have started to look a threat again from set pieces. The fact that Horsfall is making himself a nuisance, and same again, could have scored very easily again on Saturday. We're just starting to look a threat. The ball, we're not taking silly short corners. We're putting them in a dangerous area and telling players go and attack the ball. It's just, like you say, looking like County of old. We've said it the last couple of weeks, and I think other people have said it. The last couple of performances have been looking like the sort of county team a couple of seasons ago, and what a Dave Challoner county team has looked like in previous seasons as well. So yeah, and them set pieces they're just a threat now. And like I say, regardless of what we're doing in open play, if we get corners, and I think we had 8 corners on Saturday, that we've always got a chance of scoring a goal.
So we went in half-time 1-0 up, and we sort of knew that Wrexham, I just said earlier, that it couldn't be as bad as they were in that first half. And in fairness to them, they did come out and they caused us a few more problems. But I still felt that Wrexham are Wrexham, so I could just imagine. I was just like manifesting all their fans celebrating like a 95th minute equaliser or something like it. Was it Northampton that we played?
Yeah.
And they scored a last minute, because their fans are pretty noisy as well, to be honest. I could just see it happening. But they didn't. What I was surprised with Wrexham is that they didn't manage to bring anybody on that made any difference to how they played. Really, they continued to just toil.
We came out like the Bolton game, really on the front foot of that second half. And we've had a chance on goal and won a corner. And I'm looking at the clock and thinking, it's about this time we scored our second goal against Bolton. And Ethan Pike, I think, got a header in that was just a free header as well. That was just over the bar.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, at that point, I'm like, if that goes in, could be, like you say, we know we can't win 5-0, but I just thought that game was then there for the taking. And like I say, I think that sort of like set the tone then for the second half, the way we started it so much on the front foot that, like I say, it looked like Wrexham had been left in the changing room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I wasn't really going to sort of talk about the splitting the stats, but I've just seen an interesting one here that in the second half, we only had 155 passes to their 254, which means that we had more than double in the first half. The game did get a little bit more scrappy. I felt that we dropped back a little bit, and maybe we were trying to, or certainly with the substitutions, I think Dave thought our best chance of getting a second goal maybe was hitting them on the break, but it didn't quite work. The substitutions made us a lot more disjointed. It's allowed them to get more of a foothold in the game without really controlling the game particularly. I think their manager would have been disappointed with how they applied themselves. I don't know if anybody's seen the Parkinson post-match interview, but he sort of lamented the first half as being they just weren't at the races at all. Second half, they potentially deserved something out of it. They definitely played better, and the stats do bear that out. But yeah, I was surprised the amount of money that they have spent. That Mo Farl didn't do much, did he, when he came on?
No.
Was it Richie Barnett or
yeah.
So he was talked up, wasn't he, by the Fearless in Devotion guy who was on our podcast on the Wednesday. He did nothing, did he? But I think that was mainly down to Barry and Rydell just pushing him back, making him defend, and that partnership, those two, if Rydell can stay fit, I think we're on for like something really special on that left-hand side.
Yeah, I mean, that sort of, for me, that first half of the second half, say, I think we played some of the best football we've ever played under Dave Challoner. The way that Lewis Bate was snapping, little touches, little flicks. I think Dave Challoner mentioned it in his interview, but the build up to the chance that Wootton had in that second half, where he sort of like, little 1-2s, and sort of set Wootton through, and he's trying to dink it past the keeper, and the keeper's just managed to get an elbow to it. I think some of that was just, the best sort of stuff we've actually seen under Dave Challoner. And like you say, if we can see more of it and more consistently and be more ruthless with it, then, we can compete in this division very, very easily. Same again, I know we talked about shots. Just to give you a comparison against Bolton. So Bolton, we had 15 shots in total compared to 19 for Wrexham. On target, 10 for Bolton, 7 for Wrexham. So, shots on target, we've gone from 67% to 37%. And then goals scored from shots on target, 50% of our shots on target ended in a goal, where only 14% against Wrexham. So if we had them same clinical sort of aspects that we did in the Bolton game, for me, that could have been very easily a 3 or 4-0 against Wrexham, because I thought we were outstanding. Like I said, I think we hit a wall a little bit at 70 minutes with certain players coming back from injury, and I think Ollie Norwood hit the wall a little bit again, 70 minutes, and they started dominating that midfield, Wrexham. And like you say, a little bit nervy, sort of going into that last 20 minutes where, we didn't. I was hoping that the punishment for not scoring when we're on top wasn't for them to just get a scrappy late minute goal or something like that. But we, same again, dug in deep, resilience, fought our way to the victory in the end, and it was a well-deserved victory. Yeah, we might have been second best for the first 10 minutes and maybe the last 10 minutes of the game, but the rest, 70 minutes of the game, I thought we just absolutely battered them.
Yeah.
It was good to see Paul Mullin doing absolutely fuck all, wasn't it, as well, when he came on?
Yeah, I was surprised at the lack of press from their forwards, though. They did it last season as well when we beat them 5-0. They just let our defenders play the ball around, but a third up the pitch. And it's like, why? Why would you do that? I don't know. It must be the game plan, because they've done it both times they played us. But they're allowing us to play it around, and then straight away we're third up the pitch. And then it was easy then to kind of move it forward. It was just weird.
Yeah. I think the first sort of 10 minutes, you could see what the game plan was to hustle and bustle, win free kicks, and then play from them free kicks and put the ball into the danger area as such, and try and play for the second ball or win it that way. And like you say, then that's how we got the bookings, because we started to look ragged, look like playing the individual battles instead of actually trying to stick to the game plan. We lost control of it. And I think what was good, they snapped out of it. We didn't drop to their level for too long. And we've had a habit of that in certain games, and especially like the Mansfield game where we dropped to their level of playing football and their tempo and not sticking to our principles and stuff like that. So that was good that we managed to shake it off and go back to the game plan. And once we stuck to our game plan, I think we executed it.
It was interesting that you sort of identified their press, Steve, because Wootton and Collar press extremely well, and I think we'll talk about Tanto now. So when he came on 73 minutes, although he replaced Louie Barry, who isn't one of our better pressers, I felt that he was pressing so poorly. He was allowing them just to pop the ball around him. The runs that he was making, like these defensive type runs, his pressing runs, were useless. And I wonder whether he's injured actually, and we don't know. He seems to have lost some pace as well. He's changed his haircut. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. Maybe he needs to put those cornrows back in or something. What it was, but no, he.
You can't see him being injured because the team these days, the way they run off stats and everything, they wouldn't allow him to play. Surely not.
He just looked laboured, lethargic.
He looked 80%.
Yeah,
80%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's Tanto is from that Wrexham game. Tanto's got another gear at least to go up in. He looked like he was driving in third or fourth gear, and we know he's got gears to go up in. So, like I say, he had an opportunity. I think that he'd be disappointed with that opportunity that he had late on, to be honest. But, he'll get another opportunity. And like you say, he's one of them players where he has time and it's easy, he'll miss it. If he hasn't got time and he doesn't look like he's going to score, he'll get the goal. He's just...
Well, we've said this before, haven't we? I mean, that goal he scored against Blackpool, I think it was, where it was just instinct, wasn't it? He just smacked it. As soon as you just said that, I'm going to repeat exactly what you just said. But yeah, as soon as he does have time on the ball to think what he's going to do with it, invariably he does not score. And I don't know whether he was concerned with the player coming behind him, like because he got himself in front of the player, wasn't he? But you just think, you know what, mate, just stick your foot through it, and you're probably going to score in that position.
His first touch was amazing.
The way he turned him.
Oh, superb! I mean, he just opened. I think he did that in another game recently. His first touch was immense, but then the finish wasn't there. Strange.
Yeah. But he, like I say, he'll do that again this season, and he'll put it in the back of the net.
Yeah,
he's one of them players that you want. He keeps on getting the chances. He will score goals more than he misses them. But yeah,
do you think he's one of these players that needs to play week in, week out just for that match sharpness? Because some people can come on as a super sub and they're ready to go, aren't they? I just wonder, with Kyle Wootton being such a favourite now, like he is definitely our number one striker, and Tanto doesn't give you anywhere near what Collar does on the if Collar plays as like a right-sided forward, which is how we're playing him. So he isn't going to get in that first team as with Kyle playing as well as he is doing. I just wonder whether that's part of his problem as well. He's just lacking that match sharpness.
I don't know. I think he's saying again, he's one of them players. I think when he's on fire, he gets goals in sort of blocks, doesn't he? He'll go 5 games scoring every other game or every game, and then he might not score for 6 games, 7 games, and then he comes hot again.
Yeah.
And he's just one of them. I mean, that's the hard. Same again. Like players like strikers or like Wootton, the same again. A lot of people criticise Wootton because of his goal scoring record or tally and not the actual contribution he offers for the team. I know, like I said, we've all probably on the pod have been very supportive of Wootton and what he offers the team, and the hard work that he does off the ball as well. But it's a hard one. But I believe in Tanto. I think he'll come good. I think he'll get plenty of opportunities in this team and during the season to score plenty of goals. I think, will he get 20 goals over the season? Maybe not 20, but I expect him to get 15 at least.
So, Steve, anything more you want to say on that game before we move on to the table?
Just one thing, just kind of random, but if you're in the courtyard before the game to see the Nick Powell and Kyle Noyle interviews,
No.
it was just brilliant. I mean, Nick Powell came across brilliant. It really surprised me because he was like a bit of a joker and not what I expected. I thought it'd be more serious, but Steve Bellis asked him. He said, "So big game today, Nick." He said, "What do you think of Wrexham? Or what do you think? How would you think it'll go?" He said, "Well, it'll be a physical battle," he said, "but Wrexham are not a good team." He said, "We will annihilate them." And I was like, and it just stuck in my head that, and he was serious. He was genuinely serious. And I don't know if that's, obviously he's with the team week in, week out. He knows how we're set up to play. And he truly believed we would annihilate them. And I do believe we annihilated them. We just didn't get the goals. Yeah. But the performance was superb. But it was so good to hear him say that. The confidence was unbelievable. But it's just a great comment. Just a great comment.
Love it. As everybody knows, I love Nick Powell, and he actually, I got a signed shirt for Chloe from him as well. So it's like a nice sort of to Chloe. All the players have signed it. So thank you, Nick, if you're listening. Although I have asked if he will come on the podcast, and I've not heard anything back yet. So
he's got time in his hands now, so maybe he will.
He has, exactly, Nick. If you're listening to this and you're bored and you just want to spend a little bit of time, you can come down to like the County Arms if you want, or we'll meet you in a local pub if you want, or do it remotely. But either way, I'm sure loads of people want to hear what you've got to say.
He said he'll be back in January and Noyle will be back in December.
Yeah. Well, as you said, Steve, getting camps back is massive because as it stands at the moment, we haven't got a replacement for Bate and Norwood. If one of them do get injured, you could see that when we took Norwood off, we definitely, as good as Odin Bailey is, sort of, he isn't a central midfielder, is he?
He's a different type of player, isn't he?
Very different type of player.
I think that's where I was a bit disappointed that Jay Mingy weren't on the bench, because I think Jay Mingy coming on for Norwood to snap and close that space down in centre midfield. I know Jay's been playing mainly when he has played as a right back or a right wing back, but I think he was brought in as a defensive midfielder, and I think he would have been absolutely ideal to come on for them last 10-15 minutes on Saturday. So like you say, you have real tight fighting for bench space, Mingy, Camps, some quality players that you can bring on to show up. Fevs again, same again. I love Fevs. He's a player that gets you off your seat. He could have scored with the last kick of the game, where the keeper's, same again, he's pulled off a save and tips it over the bar. And the same, he's another player that I think will have a massive impact during this season at some point in games, because like I say, it's just exciting to watch. And I'm hoping, there's a lot of lads that are there that just, we all have our favourites and we all have players that we sort of look at and think if they just come good, Fiorini's another one. We said Jack Diamond earlier on. So it is exciting times.
Cool. Okay, so let's look at the table. So we are fourth in the table, which is amazing to see. We have played quite a few more games than Wickham and Birmingham. So we played 16 games and we're on 27 points. Wickham at the top with 14 played, 32 points, and Birmingham 13 played, 30 points. And then Wrexham are 1 point above us with a game in hand. And then, Barnsley and Lincoln below us. So moving on to next Saturday, we are playing Burton Albion, who are 23rd out of 24. They've only won one game all season, won 1, drawn 5. And that win was actually against Shrewsbury at the weekend. Shrewsbury are below them. So they're only on 8 points for the whole season. So this has got to be a chance, hasn't it, for us to cement our place in the playoffs?
I don't think it cements anything at the moment, because it's such, like you say, from 5th on Barnsley on 26 points and Lincoln on 26 on 6 spots. It's not 10 points and Leighton Orient, the 20th, are on 14. So I just think it's so tight still at this stage of the season. And when you look at the form table, it's a weird one. Apart from Wickham, who are, I think they were still unbeaten since August. Nobody in the division. I think County are the only teams that have ever got a back-to-back wins in the league in that division at the moment, which is, you'd think is absolutely crazy. There's no other team that has got won 2 games on the trot apart from Wickham and ourselves.
Yeah. That's true. Actually, I'm looking at this now. Yeah.
And you think of that's so it's one of them divisions that anyone can beat anybody on their day. And like I say, it worries me because Burton is the typical banana skin game for County, isn't it? Team that's near the bottom of the table, haven't won. I think weren't Leyton Orient in the same position when we played Leyton Orient, and they stuffed us 4-1. They hadn't won a game all season. So yeah, I worry a little bit. I'm hoping that players don't take it for granted or take their foot off the pedal and plough on, because it is, like you say, as Dave Challoner always says, it's only a good result if we go and then back it up the week after. Because otherwise, the 2 previous results, if we don't get a win against Burton, don't really mean much. So yeah, excited, but like you say, this division's I think it's a crazy division. But I also think that Dave Challoner's got, like you said, he's got this knack of putting runs together, unbeaten, and if he can even go on a 6 or 7 game win run, I think that could be quite exciting. Where the position we'll end up in. So yeah, exciting times.
The form table's looking a bit better, isn't it? I think we're up to 6, if I remember correctly. And
it's 3 wins out the last 5, isn't it, for County? So yeah, it's apart from, you would say, the Wickham game, the losses, Leyton Orient lost. We lost to a team that had 5 shots on target and scored 4 goals. And we bossed it in every stat out there. And the Lincoln City one was the same again, a little bit of probably a hard pill to swallow, because we won 1 at half time and then we conceded a goal to a set play where we knew what Lincoln were all about and how they score their goals. And then we, go and turn off and concede a goal when they've probably been training at that set piece all week in the build up to it. But no, I'm happy where we are. Like I said, I'll be happy with 10th if we're in 10th at the end of the season. But we've played 16 games out of 23 teams in this division. So we've played 16 out of the 23. Have we, apart from Wickham, have given us a footballing lesson? I would say nobody else. We didn't look out of place on a pitch with.
I thought Lincoln played well against us.
Yeah.
That was a tough game.
But I think it's a game that we had our chances, in that game. We went, I think, if I remember rightly, 1-0 up.
Yeah.
We should have had a penalty as well for the second Louie Barry claim, where he was through on and the goalkeeper wiped him out as well as their defender. I think if we go 2-0 up at that point, it's a different game.
Yeah.
So yeah, but all of them, even like you say, the Charlton away, when we got the point at Charlton, I think we were lucky to get that point. We were sort of really outplayed and hung on, dug in deep for it. But these games where, I look at Mansfield, we should have beaten Mansfield. Crawley, we should have beaten Crawley. Northampton, we should have beaten Northampton. And if you add, let's say, 6 points or even 4 points onto the table out of them 6 points that we've dropped as such, it's even scarier, because you had 4 points on with 31, 1 point behind Wickham at the top of the table. So still a very tight division, all to play for. But like I say, we've played 16 out of the 23 teams in this division, and there's nobody that I'm really that worried about. A lot of people said, "Oh, you haven't played anybody in the top half of the table." Well, we have. And even the teams that might have not been in the top half of the table when we played them. Your Barnsley weren't. Your Lincoln, I think, were a little bit ahead of us. Mansfield, they're all in the top half of that table now. Reading are in the top half. Wycombe we've played. I think out of the top half of the table now, all we haven't played yet is Huddersfield and Birmingham, really. Out of that sort of top 8 or 10 out of the table. So
Exeter as well, I think maybe Exeter.
Exeter. Yeah, you're right. I mean, we've conceded 17 goals all season. If you take the 9 goals that we conceded
in
against
2 games.
Wycombe and Leyton Orient in those 2 games, we've only conceded 8 in 14.
Yeah.
Pretty decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
And not only that, we've played most of the season without a proper right back. And I said this when I came on the Courtyard Club call last time. You asked me, are you worried? And I was like, well, no, I'm not worried, because we've just played most of the season without any kind of proper right-sided defence or wing-backs. And Macca's back now, Rydell's on the other side, and Noyle's going to be back in 4 weeks. And when we're going to have that cover, Mingy looks like he's close to being back as well. So we've played a lot of this season, in my opinion, unbalanced. We've not been a balanced team. And the moment, the big difference, and you kind of touched on it already, with the wing backs, you've got Louie Barry, who was kind of playing the left of the 3. And now with the wing backs, you've got both Macca and Ryan Rydell going past him. And they're getting the crosses in from the byline, which we've not been seeing most of the season. Most of the crosses have been coming in from deep. That's a completely different dynamic when you've got the likes of Wharton in the box. But not only that, it's giving the defenders of the opposition a real big kind of challenge with Barry. Because before, you knew where Barry was going. He was going down the line. He doesn't need to do that now. So he can go down the line, but it's like when he got that ball against, I think it was Andy Cannon was marking him, wasn't he, yesterday for the goal, and he's kind of picked it up, and he could have easily gone back out to Rydell, which would have been one option, but he scored. And to have those 2 options it's not been a thing this season, and I'm supremely confident about this season now. And when I say that, I don't say, we're in the playoffs, we're going up and anything like that. But the way the right players are coming back at the right time, and what you're saying then, Dan, about how Charlie can put a run together, he really can put a run together. And we're going to lose a few games along the way, but it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a great one for us.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. One final bit of sort of news is that Taylor Harwood-Bellis, congratulations to him. Played for England today, scored a goal as well. So, Steve, I'm sure you are absolutely over the moon, and congratulations to him. Maybe he'll come on the podcast one day. What do we think? An England player? That'd be pretty cool.
He picks up Stockport and Stockport County a lot, doesn't he? So in his pre-match during the week in the build-up, he's mentioned a lot about Stockport as a town and Stockport County as a club.
He spoke very well as well, didn't he, in that pre-match interview, I thought.
Yeah, and ITV during the game of, obviously, Lord Bellis is now president of Stockport as well. So he's the ruler of all of it. He sees he can get to the top of the flats at Stepping Hill and look over the landscape of his domain that he rules. It's good times. And like you say, it's nice, like you say, Stockport as a town to get some good press, and obviously County as well to get good press, and people start sort of looking and seeing what we're doing. I noticed that Cole Palmer was at Edgeley Park on Saturday for the game.
In disguise, allegedly.
Well, he had a big coat on. Cold weather. He got the big coat out of the cupboard, and he was in there in his big coat. But yeah, I mean, like you say, and that's nice for him to be there to support the lads and some of his mates that he knows as well. So yeah, it's good time, positive time to be at the club, and and it's everything's good, and I know these still little things we'll all gripe about, like goalkeeper shirts at the club shop and stuff like that at the weekend.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, well, we left home an hour early, so we got up at 5:30 to leave Lowestoft at 6 o'clock because the boy wanted to be there for 11 to get a goalkeeper shirt. We now drive to Meadow Hall and then get the train in from Meadow Hall. Got into Stockport Station 5 to 11, and he legged it to the ground just to find a queue of people nearly going out the car park, and then be told, no, they've all been sold. So he was a bit gutted. But, it's what it is. Nobody's died. It's not the end of the world. He'll find something else to spend his money on in the county shop, I'm sure.
Brill. Okay then, guys. Well, thank you once again for coming on, Steve.
You're welcome.
Always great to talk with you.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll get you on again.
Yeah.
Cheers, everybody.
See you later.
Cheers, guys.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Scarf Bagara War. We hope you enjoyed the podcast. Remember, you can catch us every week on your favourite podcast platform, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. And a huge thank you to all of our Patreon members. Your contributions help keep the show running to bring the content you love. If you'd like to support the podcast and get access to exclusive special guest episodes, ad-free podcasts and a monthly giveaway, head over to patreon.com/the Scarf Bagara War. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates, behind the scenes content and more. You can find us on X, Facebook and Instagram, all at County Podcast. Lastly, if you enjoyed the show, please leave us a review and share it with your fellow county fans. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more listeners. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on the Scarf Bagara War. Come on, County!